Hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the EdTech Podcast. My name is Monica Burns, and I am so glad that you're here to join me today. If you want to make the most of education technology, aka EdTech, well, you are in the right place. My goal has always been to help make EdTech easier and give you ideas you can try yourself, share with a colleague, or bookmark for later in the school year. Every Tuesday here on the EdTech Podcast, you'll hear stories from my time in the classroom, the work I do now with schools and districts, and my travels to different EdTech events. Get ready for solo episodes where I share some quick tips and stories, and interviews full of practical ideas and stories from new guests each month. If we mention something you'd like to check out, make sure to click the link. You'll find it in the episode description or the summary area where you're listening to this podcast, or you can find every episode and all of the resources we mention by going to classtechtips.com/podcast, or by going to classtechtips.com and just clicking on the EdTech Podcast button at the top of the page. This episode is sponsored by my EdTech Club, a membership designed to help K-12 educators save time and simplify technology integration. When you join, you'll get instant access to dozens of months' worth of content from the past couple of years, plus new masterclasses, guides, and resources each month. It's all self-paced, so you can dive in whenever it works for your schedule. Head to easyedtechclub.com to learn more and sign up. That's easyedtechclub.com for all the details. This week's episode is all about Earth Day. And although we still have a few weeks until we get to April, I thought it was a good time to get ahead a little bit in case you're planning some Earth Day activities. And of course, there's always a great time, right, to incorporate some activities that have to do with real world connections and inspiring students to take action in their communities. So if you already incorporate some Earth Day activities into the month of April, right, this is a great episode full of some ideas for you to make your own. But if you've been exploring environmental topics in different parts of the year, maybe through reading and writing, analyzing data related to climate change, so plenty of things that you might do already, we'll build upon that today. So why do Earth Day activities matter? Well, incorporating Earth Day into your lessons can help students connect classroom learning to what's happening outside in the quote-unquote real world. Science classes might explore ecosystems, conservation, renewable energy sources. Social studies classrooms might provide students with an opportunity to examine global environmental policies or historical movements. Maybe a math activity could include analyzing data on pollution levels or calculating carbon footprints. And if you're coming in here with an ELA or English language arts lens, looking for a literacy connection, maybe your lessons involve persuasive writing pieces that have to do with advocating for sustainability or reading articles on environmental issues. AI can support these activities too. We'll talk about that today, by generating leveled reading passages, summarizing key concepts, and even providing some interactive activities for kids to take a look at. Now, of course, right, this idea of connecting to Earth Day and the environment might also spark conversation around the use of AI, right, and how it impacts our environment. There's a term I often share when talking about this with educators. I heard it first from Axios, and it's called energy-thirsty computing. Just like all the things that we do in online spaces take up some energy, right? AI takes up more energy than some of the interactions we might be used to, right? Like a Google search or typing into a Google Doc. So that's something that you might take into consideration today too, as you're thinking about some techie connections to Earth Day or some AI connections to Earth Day. So I've got a bunch for your consideration It might include some AI-powered tools, some AI-powered conversations, right, around technology use and the environment, and then some things that might feel a little bit more like a traditional Earth Day activity. So let's jump into this list of some techie Earth Day activities with a few AI connections. First up is creating a song. You might use a tool like Magic School. It gives you lots of options for creating supplemental content for kids, and use a song generator tool within that. If you're familiar with Magic School, it has all of these options you can pick and choose from: lesson generator, activities, assessment ideas, but there's also a song generator tool. So you could compose a song about Earth Day or with an Earth Day theme using some AI generated lyrics and combining it with familiar melodies, like to the tune of, and you put in a song. So if you want to create a song or maybe something that kids make and create together and you plug it in to the prompt generator, you might use a tool like Magic School to help make that happen. You could also turn an article around an Earth Day theme into a listening activity. On the blog and here on the podcast, I've shared lots of strategies for using Google tools, especially the ones that are powered by AI. And one that I shared earlier this school year is Illuminate from the folks at Google. It's kind of like Notebook LM and their audio overviews, but a little simpler. It might feel like a bit of an easier entry level if it's your first time trying this out. So you could find an Earth Day article and turn it into an audio format for listening comprehension practice. I often share grabbing an article from Time Magazine online, which doesn't have any of the gatekeeping like you might be familiar with other publications, and then adding it to Illuminate, and it makes an audio overview that would be great for a listening activity. If you're looking for students to think about different animals and different places of the world, maybe that's how you're making an Earth Day connection, you could generate some unique animal combos using tools like Adobe Express or Adobe Firefly. I'm a big fan of the Adobe tools. I've done some work with their team. It's not the only tool that you could use for image creation, but just two to consider. So you could have students, if they're already using Adobe Express, use some of the tools that are student-facing built right into it so that they could combine two animals and create an imaginative new species. This would be great for a writing activity that students might do where they tell a story about this combo animal, where they have to pull from some real research, about the different habitats or about these two animals and kind of what it might look like if they came together as one, right? Or you might decide that you create an animal yourself and use it as a writing or discussion prompt for kids to talk about habitats or adaptations. So great way to combine something a little more imaginative into an Earth Day themed conversation. Another quick idea is to create a reading passage or a vocab activity related to an Earth Day theme. I'm a big fan of Diffit, and teachers can use Diffit in so many different ways. There's a free version, so you could jump right in and try it out. And you can create differentiated supplemental content for your students, including generating a grade level appropriate reading passage and some corresponding vocab exercises to reinforce key Earth Day concepts. If you've joined me for a workshop, when I show differentiation strategies using technology, I'll often share Diffit and use a composting example because I used to compost with my fifth graders, and it's not exactly an Earth Day, all right, totally Earth Day focus, right? We composted for a good chunk of the school year. And so this is something where you might choose a concept that kids are interested in and then create some materials that are appropriate or differentiated for them too. Another option is to find an Earth Day video and summarize it with an AI video summarizer. So I wasn't at the TCEA conference this year, although it's a favorite, but the year before, I had the chance to spend some time with the KNOWT team, KNOWT team. And one of their teacher tools is the AI video summarizer. You could use this tool to pull out some key details from an informative video and even create some flashcards, comprehension questions. You could do something that you might use to spark discussion. So great thing to do if you already have, say, a favorite YouTube video you found that has to do with Earth Day as a great way to get some supplemental content around it. So far on our list, we talked about writing a song with Magic School, turning an article into a listening activity with Illuminate, generating some animal combos with Adobe Express, using Diffit to create a differentiated reading passage, or summarizing some Earth Day videos with Notes AI video summarizer. And as you can tell, I've paired the strategy or activity idea on this list with a favorite EdTech tool. But if you've been around my work for a while, you know that it's not about the tool, right? I like to give you an example, something concrete, so you can put an idea into action. You might have another favorite in your back pocket. And that's true of this next one, which is composing an Earth Day story song using a tool like Suno AI. You could also use 11 Labs. There's a few different kinds. So some of my favorite things to share when I'm giving a keynote or a workshop are tools that let you generate music with the help of AI. I think it's great for sparking conversations around ethical AI use, finding and choosing your right moments to bring AI into the equation. So there's a lot of, multifaceted reasons you could talk about composing songs. And you might have students write themselves with pencil and paper a short Earth Day story or description of an event or their own song, right, with lyrics and everything. Then you can add either the description or the lyrics to a tool like Suno and turn it into a song to share. So this is not a student-facing tool, but it's one that you might use using a description students have come up with collaboratively and creating like a class song. If you're not feeling like the music is the direction you want to go in, you might decide instead to stick with a tool that can help bring students, help them connect to content and then bring them something a little bit extra. So kind of like that AI video summarizer from Note. If you have a great video, but you want students to watch it, pause, answer some questions as they go through, you might want to try out Edpuzzle. It's super popular for blended learning, creating interactive video content for kids. And they even have an AI feature that allows you to generate comprehension questions. Just like a lot of things that are powered by AI, it's not perfect, right? But it might help you save some time or gather some new ideas for generating some questions. I think it's pretty great, but of course you want your expert eye to review. Another favorite is using Google Arts and Culture and exploring the world by doing this. Perfect for Earth Day. I just did a 3-part series for a group of New York educators. It's my 3rd year doing it. And this year, our 3-part series focused on EdTech essentials. And one of our sessions was on chapter 5, Explore. And so I shared a handful of different things from within Google Arts and Culture because it allows kids to do all sorts of things to explore the world, right? They could search for a landmark, a natural wonder that connects back to an Earth Day or environmental science theme, and they could drop into that interactive panorama and spin around and take a look. We're scratching the surface of what you can do with Google Arts and Culture too, right? You might find some great primary source documents on there to share with them. But if you're keeping it kind of simple from an interactive panorama perspective, that's a great option. Next up on our list is to take a virtual field trip using talking tours. Now, another favorite from Google Arts and Cultures is their talking tours. It's still like in an AI experiment mode, but it's worth considering if you're looking to take kids to a landmark or talk about a certain part of the world. You can guide students through a whole bunch of different sites while prompting them to ask critical questions. Essentially, you have this AI-powered tour guide, and you can pause and ask a question mid-tour. So it's really great for getting kids to think deeply about a space and start to understand what AI interactions look like. If you're not having kids interact with AI just yet, you might model this for them or source some questions and do it with them on a big screen or interactive board in your classroom. Next up is a favorite. I've shared this strategy a few times on the blog this year and definitely in workshops, which is creating a reader's theater with the help of a chatbot. A reader's theater is a script. It's leveled for students, and it usually has a theme or it's reinforcing an idea. And you might use or create one using a chatbot and have it connect to Earth Day. So your prompt might be something like, I want to bring this environmental concept to life for my students who are reading on a 4th grade level, make a reader's theater with 4 roles for them, and then you would have that script to share with students to read aloud, almost perform. So definitely a favorite. Finally, on the blog, you might decide to make some slides with Brisk. Brisk is an awesome AI-powered tool. You can do so much with it. I did a post in partnership with them on my blog during the first half of the school year because they have a bunch of new things that they've been announcing. And you might find a great resource, maybe something related to Earth Day, and use Brisk to make a slide deck to help introduce that resource or a corresponding concept with students. So it's an absolute favorite, and there's so much you can do with it. So if you're getting started with some Earth Day activities already, I hope this episode was helpful for you to gather some ideas and help kids think deeply about concepts related to the environment and Earth Day. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, when we talk about using technology or digital tools, particularly with AI, it's also an opportunity to talk about the environmental impact, right, of using not only technology in general, but AI specifically. And that might be the lens that you bring to that conversation with students and colleagues too. I hope this episode gave you a few things to consider, but let's finish up like we always do with a few key points from the episode to help make this EdTech easy. Use AI tools to create engaging Earth Day activities like songs, stories, and interactive videos. Leverage platforms like deepen and Note to differentiate reading and comprehension tasks. Explore real-world environmental topics with virtual field trips using Google Arts and Culture. Encourage student creativity with AI-generated visuals, games, and collaborative projects. Remember, you can find the show notes and the full list of resources from this episode by heading to easyedtechpodcast.com or going to classtechtips.com on the blog page. Use the search bar, type in Earth Day, and I'm sure this episode will be one of the first things to pop up. This episode is sponsored by my Easy EdTech Club, a membership designed to help K-12 educators save time and simplify technology integration. When you join, you'll get instant access to dozens of months worth of content from the past couple of years, plus new masterclasses, guides, and resources each month. It's all self-paced, so you can dive in whenever it works for your schedule. Head to easyedtechclub.com to learn more and sign up. That's easyedtechclub.com for all the details. Thank you for listening to this new episode of the Easy EdTech Podcast. I love creating new episodes for you each week, but I could use a bit of help spreading the word about the podcast. Can you leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app? Spotify will let you tap on the stars, and Apple Podcasts will let you tap on the stars and leave a 1 or 2 sentence review. Thank you so much for taking this extra step. It helps other educators find episodes like this one when they're searching for EdTech tips.